YouTube, welcome back. I got this comment right here asking for a teaching in Section 8 tutorial, so let's get into it. So I already made the beat. I'm gonna get into the melody first, deconstruct it, and then I'm gonna get into the drums later. So starting out, I laid down this melody right here with Analog Lab. I used the Kalimbox preset to start out in D minor right here, and I laid down this little triplet arpeggio melody with some root notes right here. So I'm gonna play that first. So what I did is I started out with the basic triad right here in D minor. Then I put the middle note down one, so it sounds a bit more dark instead of this. Let's put it down one, and then I kind of arpeggiated it. So I repeated that 4 times. Then to add some tension, I moved this note down. So you get the half step difference right here. That creates a lot of tension in melodies. I also repeated that 4 times. Then I just repeated that all over. Then for the root notes, I just stayed on the D note, the root note. Then for the last 2 bars, I made it go down and back up. And since this last note is only 1 down on the D minor scale, it really wants to go back up to the D note. Sounds like this. This note right here. It really wants to go back up to the D. Then I just copied that over a whole octave. That. Let's turn the velocity down to add even more low into the melody. So for the effects, I just cut out some of the lows and some of the low mids right here to make it like sound clearer. Then I added some RC20, added the Vinyl 1 preset. I don't believe I touched any of the knobs. Also added some fruity chords right here, and I turned the mix down to like 30%. And then lastly, some Valhalla vintage verb right here. I turned the decay to 2.6. Just messed around with the knobs until it sounded good. I also messed with the low cut right here, and also turned that down to like 30%. But without the effects, it would sound like this. With effects, sounds way better. So when I had that laid down, I went to Omnisphere right here and I laid down 1 note, and I used this preset right here. It's in the vocals or the human voices category right here, and that sounds like this. So that's just a little vocal chop I added in the back. I also cut the lows out and some of the harsh frequencies right here. Then I added the shaper box to pan it out. Once again, some Valhalla vintage verb, the same preset, to kind of blend it in with the main melody. And then lastly, I just cut some of the harsh frequencies out once again, just to clear it up. Then lastly, I went to keyscape and just laid down the root notes right here. So it goes from D to A sharp to C, following these root notes right here. So I started out right here, copied it over once, moved it up an octave, turned those velocities down, and copied the D down 1 more octave and turned that down even more. Then I used Alt S to kind of strum it, as y'all can see right here. Got like this little strum effect. That adds a lot of character to the melody, and that sounds like this altogether. The reason why I left these notes right here out is because they will be too low. It will sound way too muddy. So I only added 2 effects on that, some EQ and some reverb. I made it sound like a lot cleaner by cutting some of the low mids out. I added some high mids, some high end. Then I added some Valhalla vintage verb, the same preset again. So it blends in perfectly with the other melodies we had. Next I went to expand, used the spiccato up preset right here. It's in the string section. Once again using the triplet notes right here, the 3rd step. And I laid down a counter melody, also playing with the velocities a lot to make it sound a little more realistic. That sounds like this. So there's no theory behind this. I used the half steps once again to make it sound darker, and that just complements the melody we already had like perfectly. So for the effects, start out with the EQ, just clearing up the signal. Next I had a fruity delay. Used the ping pong delay model so it pans out from left to right. Turned the level down a bit and also turned the wet knob down a bit. Once again I had some reverb, same preset, and at the end I just cut some of the harsh frequencies out once again. Now like I said, just play around with the velocities a lot will make it sound a lot better. But for me it still felt like something was missing, so I went to Electra X, just copied over the ARP I made before. Right here, just copied it over and I left out the root notes. Also randomized these velocities a bit at the bottom. Went to the bass gut of Fantasy Sounds pack, and I used this preset right here. And that by itself sounds like this. So starting out, I just cut the lows out right here with the high pass. Then I rendered that out, but it didn't really match this this melody yet. So it's just the same notes. It didn't really like complement it very well. What I did is I put halftime on it. I use this preset right here, the 1 bar. I think it's the stock preset. And then I automated it so that the halftime is active right here. Then it slows down a bit and the original melody comes through. And that's just 1 bar. So what I did is I just copied that over throughout the whole 8 bars. And with the main melody and the piano added, that sounds like this. So that complements it way better instead of adding no halftime to it. So what I did is I cut some of the frequencies out, some of the high mids. Actually, I added the halftime, of course, add a shaper box just to pan it out, and also kind of sidechained it. So that way every 4th bar, it kind of fades in like this. That's like a little sidechain effect. Then lastly, just a reverb and an EQ just to clean it up once again. Then I got the tubular bell from my drum kit. I put it on the root note right here. And to make it sound better, I cut some of the harsh frequencies out, add the delay and the reverb just to kind of blend it in with the melodies we already had laid down. So yeah, with the main melody, it sounds like this. Really just complements it. That's just a little accent I added, just something slight. And lastly, I got the growler moog bass, just to add a sub bass to the melody, add some low end. But I messed with the cutoff knob right here, turned this up a bit. And also right here, turned this up a bit to like 300. So what I did right here is I just followed the root notes. Instead of these going down, I pitched them up. And following the scale, I just added these rolls right here. And that kind of makes the bass stand out instead of just adding low end. Sounds like this. Like I said, it just makes the bass stand out instead of just adding the root notes. So yeah, next I just rendered everything out individually, laid it down, structured it as a loop, and then I put drums under it. So let's get into that. So for the drums, I started out structuring the loop. Start out with the piano and the vocal, then the piano comes in after like 4 bars. They got like a little switch up right here where I added sub bass and a 16 bar hook, 16 bar verse, a little bridge right here with the sub bass once again. Then once again you got the hook right here, got the verse. Instead of adding a bridge at the end, I just used the first 8 bars of the hook for an outro. So then what I did is I pitched the whole melody down 1. So instead of it being in D minor, it's now a C sharp minor. And I also added a little crash at every 8 bars right here. So it kind of transitions nice every time. So for the drums, as y'all know, every single sound I used for my rookie season drum kit is out now. First link in description, so go get the kit. So I started out laying down a hi-hat and a clap right here. The clap's just a basic pattern, nothing crazy. But for the hi-hat, I added some rolls. So I'm gonna play that. For the hi-hats, I start out with the basic 2-step pattern. Also added these bottom notes right here, and I start out with this roll. It's also in 3rd step, and I pad that out from left to right. Also made that fade out a bit in velocity, just to kind of tuck it in the back. Then I added these 2 rolls just to give it some bounce and fill up some empty gaps. And those kind of complement the melody too. Right there. Then the 4th bar, I just copied over this roll right here, but pitched it up a couple notes. That also pans out from left to right. And I keep telling y'all this, bro. Start panning out your drums. Because little accents like that really spice up your beats and just make it sound a lot better. So I just copied that over. And these notes right here are actually following the 808 notes. So in the 808, this roll right here, I just copied that over and added it to the hi-hat. So that way the hi-hat and the 808 just match each other and it creates a lot of bounce. So for the 808, just following the root notes right here, you got C sharp, then it just goes up like this, following the root notes. To kind of make the 808 stand out a bit more, I just pitched them up a couple of notes right here. So the 808 pattern sounds like this. As y'all heard, the 808 matches the hi-hat perfectly, and that just makes it sound so clean, bro. So I basically started out with this pattern right here and just copied it over every single time. But just to not make it sound too repetitive, I added this roll right here. And I added that using the 3rd step too. Also put the velocity in the 808 before the little roll right here down a bit, just so it kind of fades in. Yeah, for stuff like that, like 808 rolls and snare rolls, it's really just practice, bro. You really got to get used to it. And just experiment with whatever works best in the beat you're making. Same with the roll right here. It's also in 3rd step. Also added a little like roll right here, which I had right here. And as I can see, it's just following the root notes like that. But I just pitched them up and down a bit. So right here, it goes into the 3rd step. And I just pitched it up and down a bit just to complement it. And And of course that took me a couple tries to get, bro. It's not like I just laid that down out of thin air. Next I just add the open hat for my drum kit, just adding some ear candy, filling up some gaps, stuff like this. So as y'all can see, it just repeats this pattern over and over again. Also add a little reverse open hat right here. Just add a 2 just to complement the open hat. So when the reverse open hat fades in right here, it fades perfectly into the open hat right here. So then lastly, probably the most important part, I added the snare. So for the snare, I just start out laying these notes right here just to add some bounce to it. And 2 right here. These 2 once again repeat itself right here. Then I just copied over the 808 roll we had right here, and I just basically copied it over so it matches the 808. Also turned down the velocity a bit and also padded out to the right just to tuck it in the back and add as like ear candy. So then for the snare roll, I just copied over the 808, laid it down on the snare, just pasted it. I made it go down instead of it following the root notes. Also made the whole roll go up in velocity right here, and it's just basically the same pattern as the 808, so it matches perfectly. Now like I said before, I added some padding to it just to make it stand out more. Now I can't lie, bro, that's hard as fuck. But of course you don't want the snare and the 808 roll to hit on every single 8 bars. So what I did for the first part of the verse, the first 8 bars, I just made it unique and I kind of took out some of the rolls. Also took out the snare rolls right here, so it's not as busy every 8 bars. Then for every bridge part, where a bridge gets into a hook, I copied over the snare roll and I just laid it down there. And then once again, it also goes very well with the sub bass, the roll we added before. Next I added some rises and transitions to it. Then I grabbed the slice tool right here and I just cut some of the hi-hats out just to spice it up a bit. For example, in the verse right here, made the 808 come in a bit late. Same with the hi-hat, sounds like this. So like I said, these small little changes make it sound a lot better, instead of just having an 8-bar loop and just copying it over 4 times. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the drums. Alright, so that's it for me today, bro. I hope y'all learned something from this video. And I want to thank y'all for 4K subscribers, bro. It really means a lot. So yeah, make sure to let me know what y'all want to see in the future. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, stuff like that. Follow me on Instagram. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next video.